Hey everyone, this is Fabrielloan and welcome to a new type of videos. Since today it's holiday here in England, I don't have to work. It's bank holiday after all. I thought it could be fun to make a YouTube video. More specifically, this is a type of video that I wanted to do in a long time. I've been thinking about it for a while now. But I got like an additional push to do this the other day when I watched a very cool video, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But what is this like? Let's focus on. As the title suggests, I wanted to make videos in which I go a bit more into depth with the games I've played, certainly more than I can normally do in my let's talk about videos, my games discussions. Since in that I just give a general overview of the game and some of my reasons why I liked most of the time or dislike perhaps a game. In this, as I said, like I want to explore certain elements of a specific game a bit more and talk about it, and ideally create a sort of discussion with you guys. But we'll see if any of you is interested in this. And these kind of things are not going to be too frequent. I'll probably just do them occasionally with games. Not really, I don't want to say like that are worth talking about or exploring about, because all games are worth talking about, of course, but especially certain games that made me think a bit more while playing, or just like, oh, this is an interesting element that I want to discuss a bit more. But of course, and like it goes without saying, this sort of video will be like heavily there are going to be heavy spoilers, naturally. But I think it could be fun. So for my first of these kind of videos, I decided to come back to the latest game that I finished, that, as you know, is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. And the idea was that the other day I saw a very interesting video by Lorerunner in which he was exploring elements of the amazing lore of Dragon's Dogma, which, as I said in my previous game discussion video, it's the best element of that game. I absolutely loved it. And first and foremost, like I was really surprised when he started talking about how to him Dragon's Dogma had it's basically the modern day equivalent to Breath of Fire. And as soon as he said those magic words, I was like, what? What? Not in a negative way, just like every time someone mentioned Breath of Fire, of course, my ears are just like immediately point out, because, as you know, it's my favorite series of all time. And especially like, basically, what he says, like, if Breath of Fire would be released today, it would be like Dragon's Dogma. And personally, I was like, really? Because to me, Breath of Fire, it's so entrenched in the 2D turn-based RPG territory, it's hard to imagine anything different. I know, of course, that Dragon's Quarter, it's different. It's an action RPG, actually, more like Dragon's Dogma, but that's kind of the exception. It's sort of an exception, even though I love Dragon's Quarter, I have no problems with it. So, I mean, why not? I'm not against the idea. Personally, I would prefer that Capcom would do a proper new Breath of Fire game rather than just a spiritual successor or whatever, but because one thing that I absolutely had no idea is the fact that a lot of the Breath of Fire people apparently worked on Dragon's Dogma. Why not? Of course, why not? I say I would prefer a proper Breath of Fire 6, but whatever. But especially, I wanted to make a focus video on the final part of his entire discussion. I'm not going to talk about everything, but just a specific question that he asked at the end, which really caught my attention. I wanted to discuss it a bit more, and specifically asking, like, do you think that the cycle is broken at the end of the game? Because the Arisen cycle, which is like the main story of the game, basically. With the way the game ends, the idea is that the cycle is broken for a reason I'm going to talk about in a moment. But then he has but then if you play New Game Plus, something happened that makes you question, is it really over? And I thought it was very interesting. It's something that I definitely want to explore a bit more and give my 2 cents on this. I mean, I might be completely wrong on this. This is just my take on, based on my experience with the game, because I didn't play New Game Plus, or at least I did, but then I did something that I think it's not meant to happen in New Game Plus. Basically, when I finished the game, I wanted to see, I wanted to do a little, I just wanted to replay the game a moment to see a couple of things. And I also like noticed the amazing connection between the beginning of the game and the ending of the game, since at the beginning, the first time I play, I have no idea. I thought it was just a tutorial or something. But then when I realized at the beginning of the game you play as Savan, the seneschal that you face at the end, I thought that was excellent storytelling there. I really, really like it. But personally, I would say that, to me, in my opinion, yes, the cycle is broken. To me, that's kind of the point of the ending. However, like, you can argue that in New Game Plus, as you reach the seneschal again, and you face him, you see that it's not Savan, but it's going to be you. It's going to be your character, thus suggesting that the cycle is not broken. However, I'm not sure about this, because to me this feels more like a sort of loop within the game. And as I say, I might be completely wrong with this. It's just me thinking out loud about this whole crazy thing that Capcom threw at us. Because in New Game Plus, you play as the same character you play as before. I know, of course, you play as it's not the same character technically. It's your pawn who had taken your own form instead, because of the crazy thing that happened at the end with the pawn. So in theory, it's you, but it's not entirely you. I mean, we're getting into some philosophy here. But the reality is that it's like your character faces your own character. In a way, that's why I'm saying it's sort of a loop. Because if I remember correctly, and that's the key element here in my entire discussion, because I didn't play New Game Plus all the way to the end, and when I tried, I wanted to change the appearance of my Arisen. And that's the key to me, because as soon as you try changing it, it says like, basically, this is going to start an entirely new game. It's not New Game Plus. That's, to me, it's the key. Again, I might be completely wrong in this. I cannot stress this enough. This is just my opinion. If you agree or disagree, just definitely let me know in the comment, because this is interesting stuff worth to be discussed. So basically, if you just look at that element of the New Game Plus ending, like with your own pawn, you face the Arisen, you face the seneschal, even though it's the Arisen, we know that it's kind of the same thing in a way. It's the Arisen who completed the trial, basically, of the dragon, who wasn't defeated, so he didn't become the dragon, who didn't choose like the false peace ending. I mean, it is all this amazing stuff. Like, once you kill the previous seneschal with the God's Bane, you become the new seneschal, the sort of god maker of this world, and wait until the new Arisen will, well, arise and face the dragon, refuse his offer, defeat him, reach the seneschal chamber again, defeat you with the God's Bane, and so on. So that's why the cycle is eternal in a way. However, I think that if you're not able to create an entire new character in New Game Plus, i.e. an entire new Arisen, that's the catch to me. I know there is a way in New Game Plus to change the appearance of your Arisen, of your character. However, it's not the same. It's not a new character. You just change the appearance. That's what I say. Maybe it's just, I'm not criticizing a game or anything like that. Maybe Capcom didn't think as far as this, which is fine. However, in the main story, once you start a game and go all the way to the end, like you face Grigor. So let's start from the beginning of the mindfuck, basically. with you start a new game, you play the game up until you face Grigori in those ruins. So I would definitely agree on the fact that, to me, what's his name, God King Leonard wasn't a reason who took the offer of the dragon, and the ruin of those it's his previous kingdom, basically. So I would definitely agree on that, to me. Just like Edmund Dragonsbane did. So these are previous Arisen who did not defeated the dragon, but took his offer. Contrary to Savan, who it's the previous Arisen who actually defeated the dragon and completed his fate, basically, and became the new seneschal. However, so you reach the dragon, you defeat the dragon, and then you reach the seneschal chamber, face Savan, and you defeated him, you kill him with the dragon's bane, and you take his place. But then the big twist at the end, which I absolutely love, is the fact that you kill yourself with another dragon's bane. To me, that's the moment in which the cycle is unmistakably broken, because you're not killed by another Arisen. I mean, the fact it's very cool and interesting, the fact that if you replay the game in New Game Plus, you find yourself, but it doesn't make any sense to me because you kill yourself. I mean, however, the trick is here. Like, if in New Game Plus, I mean, if you are able to create a new character in New Game Plus, which means a new Arisen, as I said, and you complete the whole thing, and at the end you still face your previous character, then I would say that the cycle is definitely not broken and the cycle is eternal. But I don't think that's going to happen. But as I said, like, I didn't do it because I finished the game. I didn't really want to replay it all the way through because it's still going to take 40 hours or something. So I really didn't need to replay. But that's just some food for thoughts there. To me, the fact that you kill yourself, it's proof that you break the cycle, basically. There is no escape there. After all, if you just replay as the same character over and over again, so how is it the cycle is not it's not broken in there? I think it's just a loop, basically. So that's basically my thoughts on all this matter. I think that the cycle is broken. I would really, for a potential sequel, I would really like to understand more. Maybe it's explaining other quests or whatever that I didn't do again. But I would really like to understand how and why this cycle was created, for example. Who was the first Arisen who became the Seneschal? How and why? Maybe did he face or created the Ur Dragon? Because there's also that whole thing there. So I'm really curious about that, for example. So I would definitely disagree on the fact that this cycle is continuing. Now, it really depends if Capcom will do a sequel, which, as I said, like, it's a possibility. As I said, it would be interesting to explore the origins of the cycle. But at the same time, I don't want the same game focus on this, because to me, this story it ends with the first game already. Because to me, the cycle is broken. So I don't want to see, like, games in the future. In a way, I want to see something different. Ideally, I don't want to see the next Dragon's Dogma focus on another Arisen, because to me, after the events of the first game, there cannot be another Arisen, because again, the cycle is broken. And I think that's the entire point of the final decision of killing yourself at the end, to break the cycle of the Arisen. So that's kind of it. I just wanted to throw my 2 cents of this. It's not going to be, I never said it's going to be a long video. It's just like, mainly start to create the discussion. If anyone wants to discuss this, we'll see what happens. But so far, that's as far as I went. I still need to think. I'm still thinking about it. So that's a good ending of a game there that makes you think about what happened and consequences of what happened. I never expect this video to be like 40 minutes or something like this. So that's it for now. Definitely let me know what you think. Definitely let me know of your thoughts and theories for the ending of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Definitely very, very interesting. I would say probably like the best ending I've experienced this year, because it's the one that made me thought the most, made me think the most, basically. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.